Hi. I'm doing another video that deals with, again, I'm dealing with my federal definition of motor vehicle. And the reason I'm doing this is because I'm still kind of stumped on this. Now, I contacted U.S. Code Office of Law Revision Council today. And I was explaining some stuff to this lady that I spoke to, and she was explaining some things to me too. And she said, "Well, you have to read the chapter that is listed in." And I said, "Okay." I said, "Now I'm going to tell you, I'm a 5-year-old. I'm not in kindergarten yet. You're already out of graduate school, and you've had 50 years of knowledge, and you've had 50 years of knowledge and experience. So please, when you explain this to me, if you can, explain it to me in very simple terms." So she tried. But what we were talking about was Title 18 of the U.S. Code, and we were talking about subsection 31, which is definitions. And we were talking about, in the definitions, number 6 and number 10. She said that dealt with Chapter 2. Okay. Here, it's Part 1 is crimes. And that's what it was dealing with, was crimes. Now, it says here, Part 1. Now, I don't know where the Part 2 is at, so I got to go and look and see where Part 2 is located at. Part 3. Oh, Part 2, criminal procedures. Okay, arrest, search, and seizure. See, now, this is where it gets a little tricky because I don't really understand exactly what she was talking about, so I'm assuming that what she's talking about is, bear with me a second, I'm putting on my timer so that way I know exactly how many minutes my video is. Okay, hold on. I gotta go in and check something real quick. Okay, good. Okay, I had to turn my media up so I could hear my ringer, or my alarm for my timer. Alright, now, I'm not for sure if, sorry about that, I'm not for sure when it says criminal procedures, or if I'm all the way up in Part 1 where it says crimes. Now, I'm assuming it's crimes, 1 through 10. Chapter 2, Chapter 1 is general provisions. Okay, Chapter 1 is general provisions, and it says 1, repeal, 2, defines principles, 3, defines and provides punishment of accessory after the fact. Section 4 defines punishment for misprision of felony. 5 is United States. 6 defines departments and agencies. 7, maritime and territorial jurisdictions of the United States. Now, see, all of this is mostly dealing with airplane and like boats and things. Now, it deals with foreign governments, United States Postal Services, and all that. Okay. Now, getting down into Chapter 2, yes, it is. Section 31 is definitions. Now, definitions is Section 31. Now, I'm going to go into Section 31 and definitions. Now, these are the definitions that it gives for Chapter 2. A, definitions. In this chapter, the following definitions apply. 1 is aircraft. 2, aviation quality. 3, destructive substance. 4, in flight. 5, in service. Those are all dealing with aircraft. Now, 6, motor vehicle. There we go. The term motor vehicle means every description of carriage and or contrivance propelled or drawn by a mechanical power and used for commercial purposes on the highways and the transportations of passengers and property or cargo. Now, you would think that if there was anything within number 6 that was anything in number 6 that needed to be explained, they would have explained it in part 7, but they didn't. Part, that's number 7. Part. 8, space vehicle. 9, state. You've got part, space vehicle, and state, separating motor vehicle and used for commercial purposes. Then, part B, it says terms defined in other law. In this chapter, the terms aircraft, engine, or aviation facility, appliances, civil aircraft, foreign air commerce, interstate air commerce, landing. See, all of this is dealing with airplanes, aircraft. You got 2 little things that stick out: motor vehicle and used for commercial purposes, which doesn't have anything to do with number 2. And I'm going to chapter 2, and I'm going to show you what I mean. Chapter 2, it says here, aircraft and motor vehicle. Definitions is 31. 32, crime of destruction of aircraft or aircraft facilities. That's what Section 32 is talking about. Section 33, destruction of motor vehicles or motor vehicle facilities, which means that you're going to take a motor vehicle and you're going to destroy it. And then once you destroy it, you'll destroy the motor vehicle facilities. Now, the states want you to believe that a motor vehicle means every single thing on the road that's got 4 to 18 wheels. They want you to believe that that's a motor vehicle. But what did I tell you in Section 31 in the definitions? Number 6, a motor vehicle, it says the term motor vehicle means, Jesus, people keep Facebooking me. The term motor vehicle means every description of carriage or other contrivance propelled or drawn by mechanical power and used for commercial purposes. And used for. It doesn't say and also. It doesn't say and also used. It says and used for. A motor vehicle is used for commercial purposes. That's what it was created for. Now, it puts the word in there, contrivance. Now, you can argue with me all you want on this. You can tell me that I don't know what I'm talking about. Everybody that believes you have to have a driver's license on the open road, this is showing that your car is not a motor vehicle. That it is not it is a contrivance. But what does the word contrivance mean? Contrivance means, in the legal term, contrivance, it means a thing which was inventively and skillfully created for a particular purpose. Now, motor vehicles were created for the transportation of passengers and property, or property and cargo. That's what a motor vehicle was created for. It says here, and it was propelled or drawn by mechanical power and used for commercial purposes. Like I said, it doesn't say and also used, which means that it's a motor vehicle and it can also be used for commercial, like your car. Your automobile was not created as a motor vehicle, although you can do the transportation of cargo. You can also transport people, but it was for commercial purposes. Now, a school bus was made to transport passengers and transport property. It was also created to transport property and cargo, but mostly passengers. Now, down in 10, the term used for commercial purposes means the carriage of persons or property for any fare, fee, rate, charge, or other consideration, or directly or indirectly in connection with any business or other undertaking intended for profit. Now, they want to say that you go to the grocery store, you buy groceries, you're giving them your money, they're giving you your groceries, which means that you are connected to a business now, and you are profiting from that business by getting your groceries. That's not what this means. Regardless of what the state has been allowed to get, as much as the state has allowed to get over on people, this is not what it talks about. But getting back to what I was talking about was that I was trying to explain to the lady that I spoke with that I didn't understand why it was written that way. And she really couldn't tell me why it was written that way. She just told me that I had to read chapter 2, which I'm going to read because there's only, in chapter 2, there's 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39. In addition to 39, there is a requirement. Commercial vehicles to stop for inspections. Now, 31 says definitions. 32, crime of destruction of aircraft or aircraft facilities. 33 is the destruction of motor vehicles or motor vehicle facilities. 34, penalty when death results. 35 is imparting or conveying false information. 36 deals with drive-by shootings. 37 is violence at international airports. And again, what are we seeing here? It's a pattern. It deals with aviation. Very little to do with motor vehicles. Now, it says here, international airports. 38 deals with fraud involving aircraft or space vehicle parts in interstate or foreign commerce, which means from state to state in the United States, or foreign means overseas. Now it says 39 prohibits unauthorized traffic signal preemptions, which means that the police have a little flicker button they can flick to get the light to change. If you own one of those, you're not a police officer or an emergency vehicle, such as an ambulance or a fire truck, you are not allowed by law to have one. You can be a sheriff too. They have those. You can possibly be a anything police oriented or fire and safety or emergency vehicles would have those. Now 39, it says unauthorized transmitters while an additional section 39.1 requires commercial vehicles to stop for inspections. Commercial vehicles such as semi-trucks, over-the-road trucks, trucks that are transporting things from place to place. They have to stop for inspections to make sure they're not over the limit for the load capacity. They're not transporting things that they're not supposed to be transporting and stuff of that nature. Now, back to Section 33 of Chapter 2 of U.S. Code 18. The destruction of motor vehicles or motor vehicle facilities. Now I'm going to go to 33 and I'm going to read it. A. Whoever willfully with intent to endanger the safety of any person on board or anyone who he believes will board the same, or with a reckless disregard for the safety of human life, damages, disables, destroys or tampers with, or places or causes to be placed any explosive or other destructive substances in, upon, or in proximity to any motor vehicle which is used to operate or employed in interstate or foreign commerce, which it says here, or in proximity to any motor vehicle which is used, operated, or employed in interstate or foreign commerce. It doesn't say and also, it says used in, which means that the motor vehicle is for interstate, is for commerce. It says here, whoever willfully, with like intent, damages, disables, destroys, sets fire to, tampers with, or places or causes to be placed any explosive or other destructive substances in, upon, or in proximity to any garage, terminal structure, supply, or facility used in the operation of, or in support of the operation of, motor vehicles engaged in interstate or foreign commerce, or otherwise makes or causes made unknown to be such property to be made unworkable, unusable, or hazardous to work or use, or whoever with like intent willfully disables or incapacitates any driver or person employed in connection with the operation or maintenance of the motor vehicle, or in any way lessens the ability of such persons to perform his duties as such, or whoever willfully attempts to conspire to do any of the aforesaid acts shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 20 years or both. B. Well, in A, see, that tells you that a motor vehicle is for commerce. And for all you people out there that keep saying that we don't know what we're talking about, we do. We know what we're talking about. The law wants you to think that you don't know what you're talking about. The states, the police, they want you to think you don't know what you're talking about. But I'm reading the U.S. Code, U.S. Code 18. And it gives a federal definition of what a motor vehicle is. Regardless of what the states want you to think a motor vehicle is, it is expressly for commerce only. A motor vehicle, if you do not use your motor vehicle for commerce, it is not a motor vehicle, it is an automobile. Because it was not created to be a motor vehicle. My insurance company tells me that my automobile, my 2000 Ford Star, my 2000, let me start over. My insurance company tells me that my let me start over. This is the blooper reel. My insurance company tells me that my 2000 Ford Windstar minivan is an automobile because it was not created to be a motor vehicle. A motor vehicle is a particular width, a particular height, and a particular length of automobile. Once it gets to be about 2 feet wider, 2 feet taller, and about 4 feet longer, it is classified as a motor vehicle. When the company, the factory, made my Ford Windstar minivan, it was not created with the intent of being a motor vehicle. It was created with the intent of being a family automobile or a automobile. That's where the word contrivance comes from. See, when you read these things, they want to tell you that they want to tell you that you don't know what you're talking about. They want to tell you that you don't understand it because they want to be the only ones that understand. Now, this is pretty simple, and I'm a guy that doesn't understand stuff very well, but I do understand it. I understand it quite well. Now, let me go into part B. Okay, I got just a few more minutes, and then I have to kind of shut this down. So, but part B is, whoever is convicted of a violation of substance A involving a motor vehicle that at the time of the violation occurred carried higher level radioactive waste, as that term is defined in Section 212 of the Nuclear Waste Policy Act of 1982, 42 U.S.C. 1010112, or spent nuclear fuel, as that term is defined in Section 2 of the Nuclear Waste Policy Act of 1982, shall be fined under this title and imprisoned for any term of years not less than 30 or for life. Now, B is telling you that it is for commercial purposes, because how many of us common folk that drive an automobile, or how many of us common folk that use an automobile, I got to be careful, because the state takes the slang term of drive or driver and turns it into a legal definition, which you can't do that. How many people that travel in their automobile happen to be carrying around nuclear waste just as a hobby? Not very many people. So, for everybody that tells you that a motor vehicle is just a regular vehicle because the states tell you that it is wrong. I've read you proof that shows you that a motor vehicle is for commerce only. It doesn't say and also, it says for, such as Section 2, let's see here, that's Chapter 1. Let me get down into definitions. Section 31, I'll read it again. It says motor vehicle. The term motor vehicle means every description of carriage or other contrivances, a thing, which is skillfully and inventively created for a particular purpose. Propelled or drawn by mechanical power and used for commercial, not and also used for. It says and used for commercial purposes on the highways and the transportation of passengers and property or cargo. Now that's pretty self-explanatory, and anybody that tells you it's not self-explanatory needs to have their head examined. But you get down into 10 and it will explain to you what commercial purposes. Now they felt the need to place that in there to explain commercial purposes. To explain what commercial purposes was, it says commercial purposes, the term used for commercial purposes. It doesn't say and used for or and also used for. It says used for commercial purposes means the carriage of persons or property for any fare, fee, rate, charge, or other consideration, or directly or indirectly in connection with any business or other undertaking intended for profit. It doesn't say and also intended for profit or could be intended for profit. It says that it is intended for profit, that you will profit from you driving people around. Why do you think bus drivers have the word driver in their title? They are a bus driver because they get paid to drive. Cab drivers, they get paid to drive. Truck drivers, they get paid to drive. That's their job. That's their title. Whoa, what do you do for a living? Oh man, I'm a truck driver. Or, oh, I drive a truck. You know, or, oh, I drive a school bus. Or they don't say, I use a school bus. It's, I either drive a school bus or I'm a bus driver. Or they say that they're a truck driver. They drive truck or they're a truck driver. So those are titles that are put in there on purpose for legal reasons. They're not just put in there for no reason at all. So again, when people tell you that you have to go get your driver's license Now, yes, you could buckle under because you don't want to deal with the headache. But if more people would open up their minds and listen to reason and look things up for themselves, look, people say a licensed driver is safer on the open roads. But 99% of all accidents on the open road happens from a licensed driver. I have had 5 automobiles in my lifetime. I'm 52 years old. I'll be 53 in June. Until I moved to where I live at, which is VA property or federal property, the VA Veterans Administration Hospital. I live across the street. I'm in Fort Snelling, Minnesota. We don't have any actual city that I live in. Our mail comes from Minneapolis only because we have to have some place for the mail to come from. But I live here and I deal with veterans, Homeland Security Police, they're federal police. Now, up until I moved here, I never, ever, ever got pulled over. I never got a ticket. I never got in an accident. And I've been traveling in an automobile off and on since I was 18 years old. I traveled, there again, I used the word drove, I got to be careful with that. I traveled in an automobile from Kansas City, Missouri to California when I was 18. I did not get into an accident, I did not get pulled over, I did not get a ticket. Why? Because I know what I'm doing. And when without a license, the federal judge that I dealt with, which it should have been a state judge, instead I went to federal court, which I shouldn't have because it was a state matter. They wrote me the ticket for driving without a license. So I came to the conclusion that they're not going to let you win. They want to bully you into getting a driver's license because the state is making loads and loads of money off of the driver's licenses. If the state wasn't there, but they do. And there's loads and loads of people out there that believe you have to have a license to drive because they've been brainwashed and they've been doing it for so long they just assume that's how it's supposed to be done. So anyway, I wanted to just clarify that because I didn't understand exactly how to read the definition properly, but when I read chapter 2 and I read what the definitions is talking about as far as motor vehicles go, it's very plain and very simple that a motor vehicle, the federal definition of motor vehicle, contrary to what the state says, the motor vehicle is for commercial purposes only. And I don't care what they tell you. There's other sections that have said motor vehicle. It just that they lump it into a lump term, hoping that nobody knows about 18's chapter 2 subsection 31, 6 and 10. So anyway, I'm going to let you go on that note. This has been All Things Considered, because I consider all things. Have a good night, America, and all points beyond.